Has Beast's hubris finally caught up to him and the rest of the members of the mutant CIA? Well, let's hop into the pages of X-Force issue number 23 and find out together, shall we? So then, as we join this newest story arc, we're reminded of a plot line that I thought had been dropped a while ago, and that is, of course, Mikhail Rasputin, the brother of Magic and Colossus. You'll remember he was revealed to be the one to have secretly been funding and backing the anti-mutant group known as Zeno, which in of itself was part of a bigger plan to steal the Cerebro sword that I thought was going to be part of the X of Swords event, but turned out to not be the case. Well, we're back with this now, and the still very faceless and nameless leader of Zeno is dropping off his shipment of new Russian super soldiers for Mikhail. Of course, with Wolverine and X-Force continually blowing up and destroying his facilities, he's bringing in a shipment well under the promised amount. Still though, these new generation mutant hunter-killers are pretty damn good. They can control their body parts even when they launch them as weapons, and even their deaths are only minor setbacks as they have little tiny micro-assassins inside of them. It's basically weaponized in Russian nesting doll technology. We had actually seen one of these little tiny assassins make a lot of trouble on Krakoa, and surprise, surprise, Beast didn't do what he was supposed to do and destroy the thing. In fact, he kept it around in hopes of dissecting it and learning more. This scene is probably my favorite in the whole book too, because we actually get to read Beast's internal monologue for the first time in a long time. He says he knows full well that people think he's gone crazy, that he's gone too far, that he's drunk on his own sense of power, that they miss the friendly oh my stars and garters Beast, and yes, that guy certainly exists out there somewhere in Cerebro probably, but if Krakoa is going to make it, they need a real bastard, a Beast both in name and in personality. Funny thing about being a bastard though, that kind of behavior bites you in the ass every so often, like when Beast ends up losing one of the little micro-assassins inside his own body. He tries his hardest to deal with it himself, but it's clear he's going to have to actually end up coming clean and ask for help. Oh, not from Sage or from any of the other members of X-Force. Instead, Beast decides to go and ask Black Tom Cassidy for help. As you may or may not recall from the Empire X-Men tie-ins, Black Tom Cassidy can create a little tiny plant version of himself to do his bidding, and Beast has decided the best way to kill a little jerk is with his own little jerk. Now, back over in Russia, we actually learn a little bit more about the relationship between Zeno and Mikhail. It seems that Mikhail, indeed many Russian mutants, are working directly for the Russian government. Their hatred of Krakoa is so full and burning, they're happy to work with actual anti-mutant hate groups if it means weakening Professor X and his people. Why do they hate Krakoa so much? Oh, you're positively going to love this, because the mutant nation is far too decadent and egocentric. Mikhail's not alone either. He's recruited Wolverine villains like Cyber and even the Pale Girl, who was the first villain that Wolverine fought over in the other Benjamin Percy X-Men series. Also, despite hating Krakoa as much as he does, Mikhail and his Russian mutant force have certainly adopted many of their tactics, like when Zeno goes out of his way to insult this man and his nation, they decide to put him in a cosmic timeout. A hellish dark room with no light or sound, very similar to what you have to imagine Sabretooth is dealing with right now once Krakoa decided to push him all the way down to the roots. Now, Mikhail still has an ace in the hole that he thinks will allow him and Mother Russia to finally get one over on the mutant nation, and that is the Cerebro sword. He was supposed to get a bunch of Shi'ar logic crystals that would give him the power needed to dissect the information within the sword, but if you were reading the main Wolverine book, you would know that isn't going to happen. It's the Pale Girl who actually eggs Mikhail on, saying that he needs to go to the next level, but to do that, he's going to need a great speech. Luckily, he's got just the guy, one of the greatest Russian artists of all time, which is saying something, a guy called the Chronicler. We had actually heard this guy mentioned in the appendixes of a previous X-Force issue, but we actually get to meet him here. Apparently, this guy is so good at writing, either because he's a mutant or just super talented, that his words can literally stir heads of state to action, and Mikhail wants him to write the mother of all speeches. Even though the Chronicler clearly could care less about Mikhail's mission and that he's being held captive against his will. So on that note there, the comic comes to a close, everybody, and so that was X-Force issue number 23, and I certainly enjoyed it. It's nice to see the Mikhail story come back after I thought it had been abandoned. Also, if you're reading all the Benjamin Percy X-Men books, this and Wolverine, then I'm sure you'll appreciate all the different bits of connective tissue that are at work here. I especially enjoyed that this was mostly a Beast-centric issue, and whether you love or hate the new direction for Beast, you gotta positively love that Percy has now put in a back door, meaning that at any moment, Beast is just a death away from returning to his old Stars and Garter self, and that's always fun to see. Overall, I'd give this one a very positive 8 out of 10. Hey there everyone, Cape Joel again, and I want to thank you so much for watching to the end of the video. As always, if you liked what you see, be sure to like, subscribe, comment. It really helps drive engagement and helps me out too. Also, if you are a patron, which you can become for as little as $1 a month, you will get exclusive content that no one else can ever see, and you'll get to see the Comic Multiverse podcast before anyone else too. You can check out all this and more down in the description. And until next time everyone, this has been Cape Joel, and I'll see you all next time. Cheers.